gold's the granddaddy of commodities and or currencies. Call it what you may, but silver will get dragged along. But no, debasement or not, I think silver still has a very good future based on supply-demand fundamentals. You look at, as a mining industry, the miners produce about 800 million ounces of silver annually. You look at electric vehicles will be consuming about 100 million ounces this year. You look at solar panels, another 100 million ounces. So you have two industries that are consuming more than 10% or close to 20% of the world production. Above ground supplies are depleting at very fast rates. The deficit continues, so we've had a decade of deficits. Where's the silver coming from? In talking about the, what you're referring to about the electric vehicles, there's 1.4 billion cars, automobiles, sitting on the surface of the earth right now. The automotive industry worldwide produces 90 million automobiles per year, of which 5 million of those are electric cars. So, and the electric vehicle business is consuming 100 million ounces of silver annually. So if you're going to replace every fuel combustion car on the planet by, call it 2030, call it 2035, call it 2040, how are you going to replace 1 billion cars at the rate of 5 million cars a year? Where's all that silver coming from? So do the math. For every 5 million cars, you need 100 million ounces of silver. So, it's simple. There's not enough silver on the planet that can meet the demands of government. Look, silver is a very electrically conductive material, and the only second to gold. Copper is very good as well. But when you're looking at a Tesla, for example, it's got 6,000 fuel cells in it, with a computer managing that battery base, or these batteries heat up and cool down, and you need a very sophisticated, very fast computer to be able to manage that case of batteries. You couldn't do it with any other metal. The cell phones, computers, there's tin, aluminum, any potential replacement just doesn't do the job. Silver is not replaceable. And on our website, we say there's no substitute for silver, and there's not. The fact of the matter is the banks can write unlimited amount of paper contracts. If there's a flurry of silver buying that comes into the marketplace and the banks don't want the price to move, they can just manipulate it. They can just write as many contracts as they wish to hold the price wherever they wish it to be. You look at uranium, for example. Just recently, the uranium's on fire because there's no futures market. That is a spot-based market. And I've been saying for quite some time that we need to get rid of the futures market, because that's destroying price discovery, because it's those banks that control the market. The producers should be controlling price, not the banks. And we're not getting fair dollar for the hard work and labor that goes into the production of our metal. Well, you can argue that everything's manipulated. Interest rates, look at the governments. The largest trading room on the planet is apparently the Federal Reserve's trading room. They manage prices, whether it's oil prices, whether it's the price of whatever, stock market, the S&P, the Dow Jones, and that's what governments do. I don't know why governments think they have the right to do it. I think government should be right out of the market. Government should not be involved in pricing of anything. Government should be servicing the needs of the people and not the needs of the central banks or the banks themselves. The regulatory system was put in place to protect the retail investor, not to protect the banks. And we now have the governments, backed by the Federal Reserve, protecting the big players in the system. There's a couple of things there. Energy is one of the biggest areas of improvements that the mining sector, can achieve. And we've done that with putting LNG in place. So we no longer have any of our operations fueled by diesel. A couple of years ago, we had 2 mines on diesel. And having last one converted over to LNG, it's good. It's a win-win for everyone. So less environmental impact and also lower cost, because it is less costly. But we're actually looking at other things. We're looking at hydrogen as well, because we are still a consumer of diesel. And if we could replace diesel with hydrogen over the next couple of years, that'd be another great step going forward. Gold at $1,800, we're close. It's not that bad, right? I get asked, going back to the acquisitions of Jerritt Canyon, and having gold in the portfolio, I can tell you it's tough to be a pure silver company. We were a 90% silver company, a decade ago. And it's very volatile. When you're doing budgeting, planning, and you see silver moving the way it does on an annual basis, it becomes very difficult to plan the business. Now with gold, silver, look at silver. Silver went from 18 to 30 now to 23 in a matter of how many months? 6 months, approximately. Gold doesn't do that. So we now have a stable cash flow from our sale of gold, and we allow silver to fluctuate, and it doesn't affect us as negatively as it used to. So the business is much stronger as a result of having gold in the portfolio. But asking me about price predictions, I'm a $3,000 gold guy. I think within the next 2 or 3 years. Close to a decade ago, I was the only one. And that thesis was built on supply-demand fundamentals on the technology of the day, mainly electronics, computers, cell phones, and so on. But today we have two new driving forces, which are electric cars and solar panels. These technologies or these businesses really didn't exist to them for the most part a decade ago. And today I'm even more committed that, I'm thinking, triple-digit silver. I was always thinking on the low end of that, triple-digit silver, but now I'm thinking it's possible to even get, into the higher end of that range. The current market, whether it's the meme stocks or whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's the SPAC market, this is very similar to 1999, 2000. I remember that market very well, and it just burst. And I remember March of 2000, the NASDAQ hit 5,000. And you could not make money, or there was no way not to make money. Anything you threw money at, you would make money at, or on. Any business plan didn't have to have any real materiality to it. You write a good story on a piece of paper, and someone would write you a check for a few $1 million just to float your story. And that's how crazy it was. And it's much the same today. There's thousands of these cryptocurrencies out there. Show me one technology that was the first in its class that survived. If you want to buy real assets, go buy some real estate, go buy some gold, go buy some silver. Those assets aren't going anywhere. We've been very focused on growing the business. We made a very good acquisition back in 2015, which grew the business by about 40%. We made a very good acquisition in 2018, again, growing the business by approximately the same. And we've now bought our first mine outside of Mexico. It's our first investment ever. The company's been in business for now 19 years, and we bought a gold mine in Nevada. Pretty exciting, and it's a great jurisdiction to be. I'm super excited about what we're doing in Nevada. It may be the beginning of a new future for the company. Too early to tell, but we're very happy to have an asset in the United States.